What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Inside Major League Pickleball. Hot off the press, new ownership news for Major League Pickleball this week, and we're about to catch up with one of the hottest names on that list. But first, a quick thanks to our sponsors, starting with Pro XR, the official paddle of MLP, the only paddle custom fit for your grip. Knockaround, the official sunglasses of MLP, quality shades that won't break the bank. And Aura Organic, the official nutrition partner of Major League Pickleball. Transform your health with plant-based nutrition from Aura. As always, one of your hosts, I am Michelle McMahon, sports broadcaster, one of the voices of Major League Pickleball, reality show legend Tyson Apostle with us every week. We lost Casey Patterson again this week. We don't know where he went, but hopefully we never know.
We don't know. We wish we had answers.
Well, hopefully
for
he'll be
you.
here next week and we can get the scoop. And last but not least, thrilled to be joined by one of the newest owners of the Major League Pickleball circuit. She was recently drafted by the Atlanta Dream with the number 6 overall pick from the 2023 WNBA draft. Out of Stanford University, so as talented as she is, she's also incredibly intelligent. As a sophomore in 2021, she won the Final Four Most Outstanding Player honors as a member of the National Championship team, and she joins the Mad Drops ownership group along with NBA star and NFL Pro Bowler Josh Allen. You also have Drew Brees in that list. And so we are now thrilled to welcome in Haley Jones. Haley, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start from the beginning with you with pickleball. What was your first exposure to the sport? What drew you in to where you are now as involved with Major League Pickleball?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's always awkward being bragged on and just listening, but appreciate it. And I guess my first exposure to pickleball was in middle school. I was part of just like in PE, you do pickleball. And it was the first time I ever heard of it. Like nobody ever done it before. So we're outside on the concrete doing it. And it became my obsession for that month of PE to the point where I was like, I'm quitting basketball, mom. Pickleball is my calling. And so, quickly realizing I wasn't the next best thing, I had to go back to basketball. But for that moment in time, it was my newest passion, and it's always just been something that I love to do on the side.
So, what year is this? Because I did PE, but I didn't get pickleball.
Yeah, back in 2006, I was the same as Haley. I was like sweaty bangs in gym class, like full sweatband, always playing on championship court with the boys. I was like, what is this sport? And then it just disappeared. But for you, Haley, I bet it was more recent that you were exposed to this than us.
Yeah, it was more so like,
oh God, I'm old.
And like you said, it just kind of disappeared. Like it didn't come back in high school. It just kind of wasn't really a thing that people continued to do until more recently. People are like, oh, do you want to go play pickleball? Or, oh, I have my net. I'm going to set it up on campus. But yeah, it was weird. It kind of disappeared like off the map for a few years in my life.
Wow. That's interesting because, I know this is going to age me, but people already know I'm old because they look at my face and stuff. Yeah, I graduated high school in the 90s. Nothing pickleball. The sport was in the 60s, but in the 90s, like nothing, 2000s, nothing. I didn't hear of pickleball till I moved to Arizona and moved into a resort-style community where all these seniors were playing pickleball. That was my first exposure to it a couple years ago. So that's exciting that like people are learning it in school now. Mm-hmm. And I do get like messages all the time from people who are like, oh, my kids are learning it in school. So very awesome. But you decided not to pursue it past that month. You were better at basketball.
Well, see, I thought I was better at pickleball, but my mom had to give me a quick reality check. And she was like, Haley, girl, I think we should stick it out. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's pickleball, but she talks me out of it. And I was like, moms are always right. So she led me in the right direction, I guess.
Honestly, though, now you could have taken it. If pickleball was where it was at now and where you were at in middle school, you probably could have pursued the pickleball. You still could, Haley. I would draft you. I think. You're welcome.
You.
And you can always draft yourself.
There are some exactly. I could now in the position I am, I guess. I don't know if that'd be the best thing to do as a new owner, thinking of the longevity of my team. But I know there's a lot of WNBA players. Jewel Lloyd on the Seattle Storm, she's big into pickleball and she's really talented. So I might need to get some lessons from her before I, break out of retirement.
Okay,
I guess.
so then when it came to your interest in Major League Pickleball, when did you first hear about Major League Pickleball? And then, how did this opportunity come together for you to be one of the owners?
So I just heard about it last year because I feel like it was all over social media for a moment in time last year where it's on my Explore page, it's on Twitter, it's everywhere. And so I'm one of those people where I see something new, I'm going to deep dive and learn everything about it. And so all of a sudden here I am, all of my Google history for a whole week is just pickleball this, highlights that. My whole YouTube history is just watching pickleball. And so when the opportunity was brought to me maybe a month or so ago, it was no question. I was like, I want to get into this. I want to go to the tournaments. I want to go watch the games. I want to, just be a part of it in any way I can. And so being a part of it from the ownership level, I thought was going to be really interesting. I can, meet the players, be a super fan, be up close. So it's been really cool so far. I'm excited to, once season dies down, actually attend an event, get to meet the team, all that stuff. Try not to fangirl out too much. But it kind of came together in the past few months or so.
Let's talk about how it came together, because I'm still waiting for the phone call from an ownership group to be like, yo, Tyson, do you want to be did you have connections? Did someone know you were interested in pickleball? What was the process?
Yeah, so it was really just my agents have a connection to the people with the Mad Drops. And so They were just talking to the agency, would you have any people that'd be interested? And my agent also represents Jason Tatum, who's one of the other owners now. And they were like, Haley, Jason's getting into this. Would you be interested? And I was like, I bet I'm more interested. Sign me up. And so it was just perfect that the opportunity was coming together, and being one of the women owners in the league is really special. Kind of being one of the first WNBA or just women's basketball presences as well. So when they brought it to me, it just seemed like the perfect opportunity, and I was just like, yeah, why wasn't this brought to me, guys? I should have. I realized it was never just a conversation starter for me to be like, so I love pickleball. It's one of my favorite hobbies. But now that they know, it's a perfect little melody here.
That's awesome.
Perfect. So you were a little upset with them for not calling you sooner on it?
Definitely. I'm the type to, give a little sass and just, dig it in. So I was like, come on, people. We really have to think about your client here.
Did you have any relationship with Jason Tatum or Josh Allen or any of the, I know obviously through your agency, but has there been any other relationship leading up to this point or conversation now as an ownership group?
Yeah, well, just knowing Jason through the agency, and then he's kind of become like a big brother mentor in the NBA. So talks to me about things. We've done, I think, one shoot together at this point, so it's fun. He was just played the Atlanta Hawks last week, so I went to the game and talked to him after. Pickleball didn't come up after his game. It was more like congrats, but I'm sure we may talk about some business strategies coming up. I don't know anyone else on the ownership group on a personal level, but I'm excited to get to start working with them.
Well, let's talk business strategies then. So you have this team, you have these 4 pros, you have one of the strongest teams in the league currently. They won the first event in Mesa. Mm-hmm. Do you have any ideas or anything that come to mind to take this to the next level?
I think just in terms of, it's different for me. I'm used to be on the player side of things. So now changing my mentality to be on the ownership side and, how to grow the sport even more. It's already the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now, but just keeping it in the front lines. Because as we talked about earlier, I played it in middle school and it dropped off until now, really. So it's kind of keeping it on the front lines of things is my business strategy. And I think it starts from creating relationships with the players that I have on the team. So I have a partnership with Beats by Dre, so I'm working on, creating a different thing I can send to them, just getting to know them, reaching out, and then doing everything I can to increase just kind of the visibility that they get, putting it on, the biggest channels, social media, whatever it may be, just growing it in any way that I can. I think it's an easy start for me to do. having women's basketball start to love pickleball, do what I can, speak about it here in the Dream, in the Atlanta market, whatever it may be, getting my friends to talk about it. I think that's the way I can start it, just word of mouth, social media, just getting more visibility for it. And then I guess bigger business strategies will come into play once I really talk with the other owners and see what they
You have a unique vantage point, as many of these former pro athletes and current pro athletes do, from a player standpoint. So I know it's new for you in the pro athlete circuit, but as a professional athlete, what is it, I guess, about the ownership side of things? Like maybe the question is this: how do you think being an owner will also maybe help you as a pro athlete as well?
For sure. I think, as an athlete in the league that I'm in, there's changes that you want to see, in terms of, for the WNBA, there's a lot of stuff coming out, about the pay or the way that we travel, the visibility, the TV rights that we have. And so being able to now be on an ownership side of a different sport, it's interesting to see the ins and outs of it, why certain decisions are made, thinking more in terms of long-term longevity of the league. As a player, a lot of times you want instant rewards. You're like, okay, well, I want these flights now. I want this TV deal now. And you don't understand everything that goes on behind the scenes to, why you can't get out of this deal, why you need to take this now, where the league is at. And so being on the business side now, just as I'm very newly getting into it, just, going to start sitting in meetings and listening and then be into it as much as I can, I think it'll just give me a different vantage point in terms of how things run, what I can do on the athlete side to help the owners of the Dream, of the WNBA, whatever it may be. So I think it's just helpful giving me more of a, wholesome perspective of why things are the way that they are, how to grow the league long term, not just for the next year, for the next season, whatever it may be.
Have you had conversations with the four on your team yet? Have you met
Not
these
yet.
players?
Not yet. I'm planning to do it around like my first gifting to the team, to be like, hi, here's some headphones.
Cool.
And things.
Oh, so they always have that positive.
Yeah. So that they're like, oh, we love her. She's a gift giver. Oh my God.
So smart.
Exactly, right? See, as a player, I know what I would want. I would definitely want to be like, ooh, gift basket. But I want it to be personal. So it's not just like headphones. Maybe I'll make a little basket that have things that represent me so they can get to know me. I'm cool. I'm not one of these super like older owners, like you said, like the senior citizens. I'm young. I get it. I know what you're going through. Like maybe I'll send, some ice packs, things like that. All that good
What
stuff.
else, other than it being the fastest growing sport in America? You're obviously incredibly intelligent. You went to Stanford. What else on the business side of things made this an appealing investment for you?
I think it goes along with what you said. Like, it's one of the fastest growing sports. And I think for me as an athlete, understanding that I'm not going to get to play forever and I can't just rely on my yearly salary, whatever it may be. I want to start investing in things. I want to start figuring out, just beyond investments, like what I'm passionate about. And so I'm passionate about growing sports. I think that there's a huge decline in young girls being a part of sports. And so anything that I can do to kind of, introduce a new sport, maybe they'd be interested in that, being active, things of the sort. And so for me to be able to get into something like this so young and be on the ownership side so young, it gives me time to be a part of it from this, growing level, put my own 2 cents into things, and then grow my own portfolio, talk about different things, think long term where I want to be once I'm done with my own basketball career. Maybe it will be continuing with pickleball and talking about things, growing this sport. I'll probably venture into other outlets as well. But I think just kind of growing that portfolio to be able to talk about different things, different ways to be active, talking to the youth, whatever it may be. That's why I find this so intriguing.
I love that. I wonder how close we are to breaking into like Division I college athletics from a sports standpoint, since all of us have had experience at that level. Like, how far away realistically do you think that would be from, obviously make it into Olympic sport, but also a Division I college sport, so more female athletes can get involved and excel at something that is really popular in women athletics?
I think realistically, it doesn't seem like it could be that far
Right?
away. I know during COVID, I was watching on like ESPN 3, and it was like the spike ball championships for like NCAA D1, and I'm like, okay, like I play spike ball. I'm sure that there are many other sports like this where you can go to school for it, and it may not start out as one of the varsity sports and you get scholarship, but it can start out as a club sport, and then as it remains to get more traction, more this and that, schools are more than willing, NCAA is more than willing to add another varsity sport to the roster and be like, okay, now it's a scholarship, now let's make it a championship, how to do everything in that sense, fall, winter, spring, whatever sport it's going to be. So I don't think, especially with the way that it's growing right now, I don't think that it's that far off from being an NCAA sport and having people get to go on scholarship for it. And I think it just provides more opportunities.
I think especially because it's equally inclusive of men and women, that it is extra appealing to to university play, because you have the Title IX stuff, you have all of those factors that they're trying to balance, but this, where it's men and women equally and playing together and this and that, I think that it's extra attractive in that capacity.
Oh, totally agree. I think it's an easy
What about
Okay, let's start selling it.
Let's get on
Who do we talk to first?
right after.
I want to know, for my own curiosity, what the most valuable part of your Stanford collegiate experience was for you as an athlete.
A great question. I think for me, the most valuable part was being at a place like Stanford is different from other schools where you're a D1 athlete. I think at Stanford, you get the best of both worlds. You get the academics and you get the athletics. And then on top of that, I'm surrounded by excellence every single day in a bunch of different facets I never would have thought of. Like my freshman year, my roommate, she had a nonprofit for Syrian refugees, and the guy next to me was selling his tech to Google, and this person's doing this and worked with Obama and yada, yada, yada. And so it's just, I think being at Stanford allowed me to realize that I'm more than just an athlete, and there are other avenues that I can take where I can use that background of an athlete, where it's, the skills of teamwork, learning how to work with people, getting the best, pushing yourself to reach that full potential, whatever it may be, just these things that you learn through athletics and applying that to other spaces in my life. So I think being at Stanford made me stronger just by being around that excellence every day. You're pushing yourself. There's not much time to slack off. And from that, I've been able to, really take a deep dive, see what I want to do, having that understanding that basketball isn't going to be a 40-year-long career for me. That's not feasible. So understanding what I can do now to set myself up for the future, what I'm interested in outside of basketball, for me to start getting into things now so I'm prepared when basketball does come to a close.
Was that situation intimidating or more motivating for you? Because I feel like if I showed up in that situation and all these people straight from high school had all these accolades, I'd be like, I once ate 20 snow cones in a day.
Yeah. No, I feel that. It wasn't easy at first, because when I get there, like I'm talking to these people and he's like, Haley, how should I sell it to Google? Should I sell it to Intel? This and that. And I'm like, you're asking me?
All the above?
Do either one. And he's like, exactly. And he's like, oh, or should I keep working on it? And I'm like, dude, I'm not the one to ask. And then they go, oh, and this is in like freshman orientation within my dorm. So we're like in a circle talking, getting to know people. And then I'm like, Haley, what do you do? And I'm like, I throw a ball in the hoop. I'm pretty good, I think. You guys should come to a game. And so I'm sitting here comparing my stuff. And I'm like, oh, like I played USA basketball and I won this and I did a gold medal and I was McDonald's All-American. And I'm like, this is so lame. But the kids are like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, because they already have this understanding where like everybody can be excellent in their own space, and you don't need to compare your own achievements or accolades to other people, because I can't do what they do, but you see them at an open gym, they're not doing what I'm doing. It's just different. And I think it's understanding that everybody can succeed in their own arena. And so at first it's hard to not get caught up in comparisons. And you're like, okay, I'm not on this level. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it's also like, I'm not even interested in creating a technology to sell to Google. So why am I comparing myself to this guy who's already done it? And he doesn't want to be a D1 basketball player winning this and that. So he's not, there's no type of animosity between the two of us. So I think it definitely took a moment of time, but once you come to that understanding that you can all win and succeed in your own different things and then be supportive from an outside perspective, it's really special.
So was there a day where you sat down and were like, I got to come up with a software idea to sell to people?
Most definitely. I've come in my dorm room after freshman orientation and I'm like, I need to cure this. I need to do that. And I'm like, Haley, girl, that's not your conference. So don't.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. They're looking at you exactly how you're looking at them, where they're like, she's incredible, all these accolades. Like, what am I doing here at Stanford when she's like, excels so much in this sport? So, yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. I get caught up in that still. So that's a good reminder to be like, I'm not the guy of everything, and there's things people do better, and I need to just let them do that instead of me being like, 43, I'm so far behind because I can't do what that guy's doing.
No, 100%. And I think it kind of ventures off into a lot of different things. You can talk about just professional athletes of different sports. Like now I'm, getting into this pickleball world and I respect these athletes so much and what they do. And they can probably do things in training in the weight room and whatnot. I can't get out there on that pickleball court and do the same things. And it's just appreciating what everyone is good at and what they've decided is going to be their thing. So like I can go and watch these pickleballers and be like, you guys are amazing. And I'm going to fangirl and I'm going to scream and be that crazy person in the stands. And then they can come to my games and be like, oh, wow, like we can't do what you do and I can't do what you do. But there's still just such respect between, different athletes and just different people with different.
What do you love the most about pickleball? Like when it comes to your experience in middle school, playing recreationally now, like what's the draw for you about the sport and just playing?
I think the draw for me is similar to my draw for basketball. It's the pace. It's fast. And I think that's the number one thing is like when I first played, I was like, oh, you're moving, you're doing this and that. And it's like a smaller court. And so me being like a lengthy green bean, I can just stretch and do all this stuff. But then like you see these players who don't have the same frame as me, but they're able to find their little ways to still like make it work. They're quick twitch fibers, this and that, they're moving. So I think that's really fun about pickleball. I think the other thing is just how accessible it is for so many different age groups. Like you were saying, Tyson, like you first were introduced to it and it's the senior citizens playing. And they found their ways to still make it happen. But then you can also have like the youngest kids with just all this energy and then they have this same joy and love for the game. So I love how it's able to connect different people, from different stages in life, different body types, whatever it may be. Anybody can find their place in pickleball, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, not only did the seniors find their way, they found a way to.
I'm sure. Because like older players in any sport, they just know the ins and outs. So I could be 10 times more athletic, but you have the skill and the efficiency to make me look stupid. It's crazy.
Everyone's lost to somebody that they've sized up and they're like, no chance. Especially when you have like, I don't know, a decent background of athletics. You're like, yeah, I've got this one in the bag. And then here comes Marty, all 75 years old of him in his glory. And he comes and knocks you out with a knee brace and all. It's just really, it's a humbling experience. I was gonna say, I think Tyson, you might have a similar frame with the, what did you say, a lengthy green bean? Lanky green bean.
Yeah. How tall are you, Haley?
I'm 6'1". I like to say 6'2", 6'3".
You guys should partner.
I'm 6'2". I like to say 6'3", but I do have friends that are like, "You're not 6'3". I was like, "I'm like 6'2" and
I'm right there.
Yeah, give it to me. In shoes, I am.
You've got a pretty good reach, though. You guys you would kill it in the kitchen together. Little lengthy string bean. Yeah.
You think we should?
I think you should.
Okay. Yeah, we'll partner up. Yeah.
Let's partner up.
I'm sorry, Haley. You're going to have to take like 80% of the court. I'm not getting better at my age where I'm at and my skill level and stuff. I've like maxed out. I've plateaued, and it's not pro level.
Understood. I'm not at pro level. I am very out of practice. I need to get back into it. I'm gonna get a trainer and show up and just be locked in and have the sweatband.
Secret training.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
secret training. I'm gonna wear a disguise and they won't know it's me. And then I'll come out. I'll be like the master. And they're like, "Who is this amazing player?" Bam.
Yeah, this is my first time. What are the rules? And then just crush it.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
That's so good. Well, you've got 4 pros now at your fingertips, so I'm sure you can get some tips from them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would want to do. I'm the type to make something out of it. Now I want to do the undercover owner. And,
oh my gosh,
get
that's
up in
hilarious.
there, and then they would think that I'm some awful, just random person and I suck and all this stuff. Turns out. Take it off. I'm like, hey guys,
yeah,
it's me.
So would you be asking questions like, so what do you think of the new ownership group, guys?
Oh, have you ever watched
Haley's pretty cool, right? What do you think about Haley?
I'd be like, so do you like her hair? Have you watched her play? What do you think? And then I would remember these things when I think about the next gift basket I make them.
And the draft and everything.
Awesome. 100%. What did you think of her outfit at the draft? Was it the best one there? And then see what they say.
Will you be at a lot of pickleball events? Are you going to plan to be?
There's one coming up in Atlanta, actually, a couple weeks.
Yeah. So there's one in Atlanta in late September, I want to say. Mid-September is one in Atlanta.
Well, there's a pro event coming that's not
PPA.
Pickleball. The PPA is coming this month, in a couple weeks.
I'll be there if you want to play.
But
oh my gosh.
But
yeah.
Michelle's scary on the court.
But I don't want to be cause for injury. I don't know if you're allowed to play in season, but if you are.
Yeah, I have no idea. All
right.
But I think I'm going to try to make as many as I can. Anything that's in Atlanta, if I'm not traveling, I'm there. I think I'll definitely try to make, just as many as I can, no matter what it is. I mean, I know I'm going to be going back out. I mean, I'm from the Bay Area, so all the different California events out of season, I will most likely be there. If it's in disguise or not, I will be there. So yeah, any event I can make it to, I'm really excited to just, actually witness it at the pro level, and just see the talent that's there. And just also more than that, just the culture around it. It seems like so much fun to be a part of, just the energy around pickleball being on the rise right now. I think it would be really cool to be at an event.
Have you been to any?
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't. So it'll be my first time. Maybe when I see you in Atlanta, it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I would say Major League Pickleball is second to none in terms of environment. So the Atlanta one, I hope you can make for Major League Pickleball and PPA because it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Sorry, Tyson. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say that it's you hit it right on the head, Haley. It's because it's so new and everybody's excited about the growth of it. Everyone's stoked on it everywhere you go. You can go to a local court and be like, pickleball. And he's yeah, come on in. Here we go. I'm imagining back in the 1800s, the guy that put the peach baskets up in the gym the first time. And then everybody is like, oh my God, basketball.
Yeah.
Is that how basketball got started?
I think so, right?
It was the peach basket outside.
Yeah.
I should know this, but it was just
I think
outside.
it was indoor because outside the weather was bad or something. So a guy just got a ball and put some peach baskets up inside somewhere. That's what I vaguely remember. But
I think, honestly, you would know better than me, which might be an issue. But that sounds like that could be correct.
I mean,
did they play with peaches?
Your age,
how does that work? Oh,
no, they.
I was like, how do you dribble a peach?
They collect.
That was a dumb question.
I don't think they had all the rules in place when they just one day were let's figure out a contest indoors. But yeah, so it's at a fever pitch, which is super exciting because everybody's excited to share it. Everybody feels like the inventor of the sport. If you discover pickleball and you're like, guys, pickleball, I'm the Magellan of pickleball. I discovered it. And they're like, no, you're not. Everybody that's, but that's the feeling you get. Yeah, no, you're not. It's been around since the 60s.
But it does kind of feel that way though when you're with a new group of people that are what's pickleball? And then they get addicted. Mm-hmm. And then you are their discoverer of pickleball, technically.
Yeah,
So,
I think I might need to get my parents
Oh.
into it just because my dad and my mom are like, well, especially my mom is like the biggest tennis fan. And so I'm like, well, just do pickleball. Like that's something feasible for you to do. I don't know if we're going to go out and play on a tennis court and do all that, but
Yes.
pickleball, let's get into it. And I'm like, Mom, she's the most competitive person I know. So like, I'm sure if I get her into it and then I bring her to one of the events, she's going to be like, yeah, training on
That's
the side.
hilarious.
Get me out there. I want to do
then
it. And then
will
she
you
would
feel
want
pressure to
like,
draft her?
no.
She won't pressure you into drafting her on your team.
Would I feel pressure? 100%. Would I give into that? No. But I feel like she would be the one to where I introduce her to pickleball and she's like, oh, this sucks. And then a month later, she's like telling all her friends, yeah, so I discovered pickleball. It's the best thing ever. And, you know, Haley, I guess she's involved, but it was really me, and I'm the one who told her to do this.
That's
That
hilarious.
was my mom.
Your parents both play college athletics, correct?
They did. They both played basketball in college, so
Ooh.
basketball runs
Who's
in the
the best
family,
athlete?
But it's really just. I mean, I'm gonna say me,
Has to
but I don't know. I know they're listening to this episode, and I'm gonna get a call afterwards. But I would say me.
That's fair.
So yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I feel like we could bring it to the pickleball court. If you could get your parents
Facts.
into it,
Yeah,
then
we could
you
just
do
have
a little secret training.
We should have a
then
Jones
show up.
tournament, and I will
Yeah.
pub it everywhere. Only if I win. If not, I will delete it off the internet.
You'll get it erased immediately from all
That's
social
awesome.
medias.
Yes.
You said you were watching a ton of highlights and you went down this rabbit hole of pickleball. Did you have a specific player that you love to watch?
It wasn't a specific player so much. Well, I have been watching one of my own players quite a bit. She's amazing. She's number 2 in the world, as everyone knows. So she's amazing to watch. But when I was going down the original rabbit hole, before I knew what team I was going to get to be a part of, it was literally just like, I don't know, some single event, and it was highlights from the whole tournament. And it was this one rally that I watched. And I felt like it went on forever. And I was like, I would be dripping sweat at this point in time. And it was a doubles match. And these women were just running and doing this. And backhand shot. She's like running across the court. And like almost into the stands and hitting it. And I was just like, how are you not tired? I would be gassed. So I found it very, very entertaining. But yeah, it was just it was like a single tournament. I don't really know. But it was very
You've got an electric component there too with Julian Andiamo Arnold, and I think Thomas Wilson is one of the most underrated player in the league currently. That's my
Okay.
Yeah, a
I'd
good
love
Yeah.
to hear it.
But you're going to have to redraft teams here after this next
that's
event.
right.
That's true. That's true. And I
So-
need to start getting my owner
Studying.
on and
Yeah.
figuring out things.
So you have this super team. I think it's
I
one of
agree.
the super teams in
And
league
the GOAT,
currently.
Irina Tereshchenko, who wins everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have Irina, you have Julian, you have Catherine Parento, who you were
Mm-hmm.
talking about, and you have Thomas Wilson. You're going into this last event, and you're one of the few teams that has not traded or dropped anybody from their roster because you've always performed well at the events.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward, what is your game plan here, Haley, as you move into the I guess the second season of 2023? What are your thoughts?
Well, as a new owner, I don't want to give away too many of my business strategies.
It's very smart.
Thank you. I have to have this mindset now of not giving away all my different secrets. But, I think that our team has been performing, like you said, at the highest level. And we're one of the teams that have kind of stuck with our people. So I don't really know how much that is going to change moving forward, just in terms of the talent that we have. I think the camaraderie between the players is something that I've really liked witnessing. It just seems like there's great chemistry there. So I don't really know how much I want to mess it up. I'm always one to stick with your guns. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. But yeah, that's all the secrets I'm willing to give away at this point in time.
Okay. Last question here. You are owner of a pickleball team. Mm-hmm. You've invested in the league for a reason. Where do you see the future of Major League Pickleball in couple years, 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? What are you hoping for, and what are your predictions?
Yeah, I think just in terms of the growth that it's at right now, right? It's the largest growing sport in the U.S. And so I think I hope to continue to see that same growth. And like we talked about earlier, being a collegiate sport, something that you can get a scholarship for, something that is more so at the youth level, not just a one-off PE class, but something that is like, in the recreational level, kids can sign up in their local areas, Parks and Rec. They can get into it. There could be, I think getting in at the youth level is how things really start to take off. So, maybe having travel teams that you can do for pickleball, having travel tournaments, getting more exposure in that sense, because then kids start to do it, then parents get involved, and then parents want their kids to succeed, so they're going to do anything they can to, learn about the sport, watch it, have the professional leagues grow. I think just getting it on the youth level at a more just consistent basis, I suppose, will do a lot for the growth of it. And then, from there, it's going to expand the league just beyond what it's at now. Have more players be available, more teams, more ownership groups, and then having more exposure, having nationally televised on ESPN, this and that, whatever it may be, just having it be more exposure and get it that exposure that it deserves. I think that in the next 5-10 years, it's going to be, even bigger than it is now.
Yeah, that's all of our hopes. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. Like, it starts with the recreational level. And as you create more interest recreationally on the very smallest level with the youth, it just grows and grows. Mm-hmm. Michelle, anything else before we close it down?
I just thanks for joining, and I'm so excited to see a female professional athlete at your caliber to be involved in the ownership group. I think it's awesome, and I think you're going to bring an incredible perspective and wisdom to the sport. So we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Haley, where can our audience follow all the exploits of Haley Jones?
Oh, you can follow me on every platform. I'm everywhere. I'm on social media, just at my name, Haley.Jones. Throw 2 extra S's on there. Same thing on Twitter, Haley Jones, extra S.
Okay.
Same thing on TikTok. I'm basically everywhere at the same thing. But yeah, I'm easy to find, and you will now be seeing a lot more pickleball content from me on all the different platforms.
Yay! And hopefully see you in Atlanta in a couple weeks.
I can't wait.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Haley. Thanks for the time and your energy. We're excited to see what you bring to the league. And that's it for now. You guys can follow Major League Pickleball on all social media platforms. And if you have missed any of the events and want to catch up on them, go to majorleaguepickleball.net and click the Watch Now banner. Until next week, see ya.